Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, the very Reverend Monsignors, dear Reverend priests, sisters, and dear friends. I am here to speak about the roots. And since he has given me not too many minutes, and a number of minutes have already been taken, I'll be a bit fast. What is the Amecea? The Amecea, please. Here it's moving, but up there it's not moving. Let's stay around. Amecea, as we all know, is an association of member Episcopal conferences in Eastern Africa. And this includes Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. And what am I here to do? I am here to revisit our roots, our existence, to have a quick look of where we come from and the reasons why they started this organization. And after seeing the reasons why they started these organizations, also to see how we have been moving with the ideals of our forerunners, how we have been moving with the ideals of those who started us, who started this foundation. And okay, the purpose is to revisit and to have a quick review and to revitalize the spirit of the founding fathers. At the same time, to recognize the work that has been done by our forerunners. And we are also to celebrate what we have done so far, to celebrate what has been going on. And at that time, how did the idea come? And how did it manage to come? In the first place, the situation was ripe. The situation was ripe for the founding of this organization. The missionaries who were evangelizing us were more or less the same. They were more or less the same because as we went along, we had the white fathers who were in Tanzania, in Kenya, in Zambia, and in Malawi. We had the Holy Ghost fathers who were in Tanzania and Kenya. And we had the Montfort fathers who were in Zambia and Malawi. And we had the Consolata who were in Kenya and Tanzania. So with these common evangelizers, it was easy to have a good communication between these evangelizers. And at the same time, since 1953, January 25th, the vicariates had been upgraded to dioceses. So now they felt really responsible to do something. And at that time, the Second Vatican Council was on the way, because in 1959, Pope John Paul XXIII had convened the Vatican Council. So the missionaries were excited to see what would happen. So something has to be done at that time. And another issue is that they were all English-speaking countries. The 5 founding members were all English-speaking, and they were all under the same colonial rule, the English. And all of them were slowly in the struggle for independence. So at the same time, this gave them a kind of a unity, a kind of a togetherness that made them go forward. And the idea of having the Amecea countries started in Tanzania in 1960. In the meeting, 1960, the bishops of Tanzania, at that time Tanganyika, they met. And actually the big idea was from Bishop Joseph Brumels. Joseph Brumels he was an inspirational. He's the one actually who started even the idea of the Tanzania Episcopal Conference. And so with him and the bishops, they thought, why don't we, the English-speaking countries, come together and they face the same, and see how we come together, we can face the problems that we have. Why did the politicians were cooperating? Why not we? And therefore, fortunately, in that meeting, there was the nuncio. And it was the same nuncio, Guido Mestri, for all these countries. And when they showed him the idea, not only did he buy it, but he owned it. He owned it and took it up. So in that year, in that same year, he formed he called the Secretary Generals of the present 5 countries. And these Secretary Generals had the idea of calling together all the bishops into a meeting where they could be able to meet and to be able to discuss the future of the church in Africa. That was the topic which they had to discuss. And that meeting, which met in Dar es Salaam here at Msimbazi from the 17th to the 26th of July, 1961. They were called together and all the bishops came, and there were 47. All the bishops came. You know, at that time it was very nice. All the bishops came. This thing is behaving a bit not too, okay, I think there we are now. Yeah, all the 47 bishops came from the countries of Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, and Malawi. And also one from Sudan came as a listener. He came as an invited one. He was not yet a member, as an invited one. And these together, they formed what they thought should be able to be the togetherness. And at that time, they didn't form completely, it was not called Amecea at that time. But what they formed was a loose organization called Itebea, a loose organization, Inter-Regional Episcopal Board of Eastern Africa. And in that meeting, they chose the Secretary General of Zambia, Kirian Flynn, a Capuchin, to be the first Secretary General part-time. And at that time, Archbishop Adam, the name is a bit difficult, Kolewiski of Lusaka became the first chairman. And that first chairman, they had the agenda. And this is very interesting because the agenda, the first agenda, has been the big agenda for the meetings ever since. Has been the same agenda for the meeting ever since. That is, the first agenda was the church media. They wanted to have the church media, a TV, a common printing press, and they also had to have a spiritual formation for the priests. Common formation for priests, and the need for a center of pastoral renewal and ongoing formation, a possibility of a regional university of at least, and a third one, a comprehensive self-reliance program, and the other one was the future of the Catholic schools and the Catholic education and the issue of justice and peace. These were the issues that they thought were important at that time. And after that, then they started the building of structures. When they met at the Second Vatican Council, together they had more time to reflect and to think. And during that time, that's when actually they accepted the Constitution. That's at the same time when they made actually a more permanent organization of Amecea. So it was there when they met in 1964, when they met in Rome. That was the second meeting during the Second Vatican Council. They met in Rome at St. Anselmo College. And there, that's what they formed the Association of Amecea, Association Member Episcopal Conferences in Eastern Africa. It was formed there in Rome in 1964. And the intention they had was to infuse the African cultures with the message of the gospel, and they build an ecclesiastical model that is truly local, self-reliant, self-ministering, and self-propagating. That's what they wanted to do. And the very important there is that the Amecea countries had a trump card. Among them was the first prince of the church, Laurian Kanilorugambwa, whom they used very well, And actually is the only one who spoke in the name of the whole Africa to the whole meeting of the Vatican Council. Laurian Kanilorugambwa, and they used him. And that's when was born also the idea of SECAM. The idea of SECAM came from Amecea and was carried out by Amecea. And that's why, actually, they started in Rome and they came to form SECAM in Kampala in 1969 during the Papal visit. And then after that, followed a lot of solidarity among these meetings. So we have more meetings in 1967, for example. They met in Nairobi, Kenya, and the theme was pastoral perspectives in East Africa after Vatican II. So there they started that, and that's when they formed the GABA. It was formed in 1967 in Kampala, where the GABA seminary was. And it was in 1976 that it came to Eldoret, but it preserved the name of GABA. So they started slowly answering to the agenda that was passed. They formed, and that's when we have also the publications of Affer and Spearhead. And in 1970, I'll go fast now. In 1970, we have in Lusaka, priests in Africa today. And at that time, the population had increased in 1972 from what it was in 1961, where there were only 5,000 Catholics, but now there were already 5 million Catholics. Now there are already 14 million Catholics. And in 1973, the meeting was in Kenya again, and that's for the first time there was the mention of the small Christian communities in 1973. It had been going on in Brantai with Kalilombwe, in Tanzania with Bishop Moleka, also the Congolese with Malula, they had been doing it. But actually for the first time, we have the mention of the small Christian communities. And it was at that time also that we have the starting of the Nyegezi accountancy course. You remember that many of our diocesan treasurers were educated at Nyegezi. We are educated at Nyegezi, at the Nyegezi accountancy course of 9 months. It's an Amecea course. And then from there, we have another important decision which was made was the sisters. For the first time in 1973, the Amecea, there were a number of mother generals who were very vocal. And in that thing, they say, why do the sisters also, the religious women, not come together and they form something? So after that meeting, and with that permission, the women formed together. They came together, and they were called Amecea sisters. But then soon after, the following year, they were able to start working together. In 1976, they formed SEASC, which was the Sisters of the East Africa Study Conference. This SEASC was formed in 1976. Then in 2002, that's when we have Akweka. Akweka is one of the women organizations, well-registered, well-working, and it's coordinating the sisters of the Amecea countries together to be able to do something. They are helping them in leadership, they are helping them in training, and they are moving along. I'll come to that point again later. I'm sorry, I'm going fast because they gave me too few minutes. In 1976, that was in Nairobi. And that's when we have the biggest decision that Amecea has ever made, the biggest pastoral decision. That is the small Christian communities. It stated, I quote, systematic formation of small Christian communities should be the key pastoral priority in the years to come in Eastern Africa. That was the biggest decision, and every meeting since then, we have been trying to establish that and to see how the small Christian communities are going. And that's the biggest decision, and that's the biggest venture that has been made by Amecea countries in the pastoral path. In 1973, Sudan came in. In 1973, Ethiopia became a full member of Amecea. Then we continue with the other meetings. I'll go fast. Then we are in Malawi, we were in Kenya in 1982. In 1984, very important is that we have the beginning of Chia was founded in 1984. that is the Catholic High Institute of Eastern Africa, a very important institution, which in 1992 became a full-fledged university, Then we moved in 1986, we were in Moshi. In 1989, we were in Kampala. And in 1992, we were in Zambia. I remember in Zambia, what impressed us very most in Zambia was the power of the women. We were received by the women at the airport, and they drove us through. They were congratulations to the Zambian women. That was in 1992. And then there was coming the African Synod. There, another point where Amecea played a big role. Thanks to the formation of the pastoral department in 1994, and especially the secretary, Wolfgang Schonecker, they formed the pastoral department, which prepared the Amecea countries more than any other group for the synod and after the synod. You all remember the African Synod cooked in African pot, which became very popular in all languages, and it was translated in many languages. And it helped very much to put in practice the Synod of Africa, the Synod of the Ecclesia in Africa. And then we were 2000 Jubilee, also the pastoral department did a lot to do that. And then in 95, we were in Mangochi. In 95, we were in Mangochi. It was very beautiful there. For the first time, I visited Lake Malawi. Because normally when I'm in Tanzania, I go to Lake Nyasa. So this time I visited Lake Malawi. And in 1997, that's when Somalia was affiliated. And in 1999, we have the plenary in Kenya, Nairobi. In 2002, we were in Tanzania. Then we were at the conference there. That's where we have the whole conference, where we ate yesterday. That was built especially for the conference of Amecea in 2002, thanks to Father Monsignor Pius Lutechura, who was the Secretary General at that time. And then 2002, then they started the consolidation. The communication, for example, took over the publications, and the pastoral department took over the nomads, took over also other departments which we are going in a pastoral area. And then very fast, in 2005, we were in Mkutano in Kampala. There we discussed the HIV/AIDS, which was very important because Uganda suffered a lot from HIV/AIDS. I know that because I come from the board of Uganda, and we also suffered a lot about HIV/AIDS. So it was proper that because they had a way of fighting it and they were very experienced. So it was nice that was discussed in Kampala. And then in 2008, we were again in Lusaka. In 2011, we were in the assembly of Amecea was in Kwea. That's when we were celebrating 50 years. That's when we were celebrating 50 years at Kwea. And then of Amecea at Kwea. And then in 2014, we were in Longwe. In 2018, we were in Addis Ababa. It was very beautiful in Addis Ababa. I was not lucky to be there, but what I knew, when they came back, they all came with those nice scar caps. They all came with those nice scar caps. And that was a sign that somebody was in Ethiopia. And they are still wearing it, not officially, but when they are moving around, because the mitre can't go in it, you know. They didn't get the tiaras, so they came with the mitres. So the mitre can't go into that. So they have to change it, like the Bishop of Musoma there. And, and then 2022, we have this one. Now, excuse me, let me conclude. My conclusion is this. Looking at what was decided, how did we succeed or did we fail? This is what is important. Did we succeed or did we fail? First of all, the church to establish media. The church, we have not established a common media, not a common radio, not a common TV. But fortunately, the countries have established televisions and the radios. What we need here, and I thank the IT section of Amecea, you should continue because it's now easy to have a common communication through the IT. And the church should go forward strongly into the IT. That is the future. That is the future. If we are not strong in the IT, if we don't feed the world with IT material, the others are covering up and we shall be lost. So please, let the IT at Amecea coordinate the national ITs so that we can be able to bombard the media with good message. The formation of the priests, that was the second one. We have done that. We have Bakanja, which was formed, and also the priests are being formed in different countries, and also Amecea is having programs. But we have women, we have a big army of women who are well formed, the sisters. We have a big army of women who are formed, mentally, especially academically, and professionally. If we don't use them, if we don't incorporate them with the church, they will work parallel to the church. They will put a parallel organization to the church, or they will be used by other people, and that will be a loss. So now we have to use them. And we don't expect to use them by saying, yes, Bishop, no. The modern sisters don't do that. So we have to make sure that we include them in our programs, that we include them in our Amecea programs, national programs, the assistance programs. Then this army, well prepared by a Quaker and by other organizations, that it can be useful. Another element, the need of central pastoral renewal and ongoing formation. That we have GABA, which has been incorporated in KUEA, and the KUEA is doing a good job, and we hope that it can do a better job than that, what it's doing now. The possibility of a regional university, we have KUEA. Thanks, congratulations, we have KUEA. We made it, and it's doing well. But now the nations have started their own Catholic universities. So not many people are sending students to KUEA. So actually KUEA is for Kenyans now. That's the truth, eh? Most of the students are from Kenya. Nobody's complaining about that. But what we challenge KUEA to do is that KUEA now should make itself a Catholic hub of the Amecea countries, so that can be able to coordinate the other Catholic countries in the different countries to have a common vision, to promote Catholic identity, ethical principles, gospel values, social teaching of the church, share intellectual resources, conduct joint research projects on key pastoral and theological cultural issues. That's what KUEA should do now. That's the task you have. Because you can't receive these BS students. You want to get them. We are having them in Tanzania. They are having them in Zambia. They are having them in Uganda. But you should be able to coordinate and give a research view of that. And then the Catholic schools and the Catholic education. Efforts were made to have a common syllabus, and the local churches took over, and they are making their syllabus themselves. What we expect from Amecea is that they should be able to have at least indications, to give us indications, to oversee the indications through the pastoral department. Justice and peace issues in the region. There has been ongoing programs on justice and peace. The first and second synods for the church in Africa concentrated and pointed very much on justice and peace, and it was very much talked about. And the resolutions of the synods were very much discussed in the Amecea countries at all levels. There have been solidarity visits from different countries. I remember the Tanzanians came to Kenya when Kenya had some problems. And I remember some bishops have gone to Sudan. So in that way, we have been really together. But we should always continue to be more vocal, to be voice of the voiceless. Not keep quiet when humanity is being hurt or is being abused. We should be on the front line, the bishops, as individual bishops, as conferences, and as Amecea. We should have a voice to be able to speak against injustices. And with that, I come to a conclusion. Looking at the above sequence of events, on the whole, Amecea was a big success. Hongera sana, we say in Swahili. Congratulations. It realized many things of the founders and of the expectations. Amecea was born out of a desire of having a common pastoral approach to issues of common interest in the region. As hoped for, the bishops of of the member countries regularly meet to know each other. Even to know each other is already a lot. To know this one is that one is called so much. Meeting all these days, we have to interact. We have to interact. That was one of the reasons why Amecea was made. Amecea has put up structures, departments, built institutions, and implemented decisions of the bishops. I hope that this historical view has helped to understand a bit the spirit of the vision of Amecea. I had hoped to have a half an hour, but I've had a few minutes. Thank you for letting me go. Of the founding fathers. Long live Amecea. Welcome back to Tanzania, where we started. Actually, when we go to the business session, we shall be in the same place where Amecea was founded. So welcome, and let's be together, and let's move. Oh, some of them were behind there. Those ones are they were the Secretary Generals of Amecea. Thanks to the Amecea, they gave it to me. I copied it as it was there. These were the chairmen of Amecea. If you are chairman, you can see your face there. Like our cardinal here, you see, thank you for being a chairman there. And those were the patrons of Amecea. Okay, thanks a lot.